So I wanted to do a quick video about one of my not so proud moments when I was a Jehovah's Witness, when I got kicked off of the quick build Kingdom Hall construction for fighting. So it was not a proud moment. It wasn't one of my highlights when I was in the organization. But I got to backtrack a little bit and give a story of what really happened. So when I was a little kid, there was a guy in my congregation named Walter. So Walter was a real cool guy. He was probably 3 years older than me. So I was like, when I was 5, obviously he was 8, going all the way up to when I was 8 and, he was 11. All through that time period, Walter's family used to have these charades games. They used to invite people over. We'd play charades and then kind of hang out afterwards. So he had all these toys. He would normally bring toys down into the family room to play with, and we would all, play with them, whatever kids happened to be there, we'd play with them. But I had a little bit of toys. Walter had like big toys. Like he had like the Star Wars Millennium Falcon spaceship, like this big giant play set. He had a G.I. Joe headquarters. Like he had all kinds of Transformers, like Optimus Prime. Like he had everything. He had all these toys. So I used to love going over to the house and got to play with his toys. The bonus to Walter is he would grow out of these toys. He would get tired of them. Legos was another big thing that he had, and I loved Legos. So he would make, him and I both like to not just make the thing that you were supposed to make with the instructions, but kind of use your imagination to make your own whatever spaceship or car, whatever you're gonna make. So he liked all the stuff I liked. Legos, Star Wars, Transformers, comic books, like everything I liked, he liked. He was 3 years older than me. But the good thing about Walter, the good thing for me, is he would get tired of these toys and he would give them to me. So like he would say, hey, I don't want to play with this spaceship anymore. Do you want it? And he would just give it to me. And his mom was fine with it. She's like, yeah, we'd rather give him away to somebody we know. I was super excited because we didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have a lot of toys. So it was great. My relationship with Walter started kind of rough though at the beginning. There was a time when I was probably in first grade, I think, one of my classmates was walking home from school, and some of the boys, some older boys, they were like in 3rd or 4th grade. They took them between two houses and like pulled their pants down. I don't think they went all the way with a full assault or anything, but that's still an assault. You know what I mean? So the school had to send home little notes with everybody and everything. And my parents were worried because we lived in the same neighborhood. So they told me, like, my dad was real street. He told me, if you see a bottle, you pick it up and you break it on their head and then you stab them with them. Like I was like in first grade, like, okay, Dad, that's what I'll do. Like I had no idea. My mom was a little more peaceful, but she still told me, if someone ever tries to do that to you, the first chance you get, like as soon as you see the smallest opening and they got their back turned to you or something, you just as hard as you can, you kick them in their privates, and then you scream, you get out of there. If they try to grab you, you scratch, you claw, you do whatever you got to do. But if you start by kicking them in their privates, then you have a better chance to get away because they're going to be stunned and hurt. So I still remember that. I still remember them telling me that. And then my dad was just like, just cut them. You know what I mean? Find something and cut them. But so they had prepared me like if anyone had ever grabbed me. You know what I mean? If it was somebody old enough, I wouldn't have been able to do nothing, really. I was a little kid. But anyway, my start with Walter, so we used to go in the family room and play. And then one day he was like, hey, you just want to come up to my room and play? And so I'm like, man, okay. I'm thinking like, that's kind of weird. Like normally we just bring the toys into the family room. So I go up into his room and then he was like, hey, you want to see something cool? And he had his back turned to me. And in my little mind, like the thing had just happened with the little boy. I'm like, oh man, this is it. I'm gonna have to kick him in his privates. Like I thought he was about to do something inappropriate. And he had his back to me, like his hands was down, like around his waist. And I'm like, man, I'm about to kick him. And he's like, close your eyes. And I'm like, oh man, he's definitely about to do something. He wants me to close my eyes. So before he could turn around, I just, as hard as I could, I kicked him like from behind, like into his private area. And then I just yelled like, ah! I didn't know what was going on. He fell down screaming. My mom came running, his mom came running, some other witnesses who were there came running like, hey, what happened? I'm like, oh, he was gonna try to show me something bad. And then he's laying in the ground like with the crumbled up pieces of like a Lego ship that he had built that he was gonna show me. And that was what the surprise was. Like, he was hiding it to turn around because he was gonna give it to me. So I completely misjudged that situation. Unfortunately, but I didn't know. I just thought, hey, it's going down. This is it. This is what I've been trained for. He's about to get kicked. You know what I mean? So I kicked and I screamed, and then I had to apologize. And my mom yelled at me on the way home, and I said, "You told me. I thought he was about to try to show me his privates or something," and so I kicked him. But anyway, fast forward, Walter and I made up. We were cool. He kept giving me toys, and most of my toys came from Walter. You know what I mean? He would give me tons of stuff, like boxes of Star Wars stuff, boxes of Lego stuff, and he kept his toys like in immaculate condition. So they were like brand new looking. So I really liked Walter. So, fast forward many years, like I told everybody in another video, I was gone from the congregation for a couple years in my teenage years. And then I came back when I was about 17, and Walter was like 20 at the time or something like that, still in the same congregation. He was a quiet guy. Walter was a real big dude, even when he was young. He was real large frame. I don't know how much he weighed, but it was a lot. Just a real big, wore some really big, like man-sized shoes when he was a kid. He was a big dude, but he was a real cool dude, but real quiet, especially, now that I came back and he's like 20, I'm 17, real quiet. He stayed kind of quiet, didn't go out of his way to speak to a lot of people. I would always make it my goal to make him laugh, because he didn't like to laugh a lot. So I would like walk up to him and try to do something funny, try to make him laugh. Like, come on, Walter, you're going to talk to me today. He was a cool guy. But fast forward, we didn't speak a lot. We speak at the hall, but it's not like we hung out together or nothing. We was just kind of on two different paths by that point. But I still had his back. Fast forward to our congregation was doing a quick build. So we had sold our old building, and we were doing a quick build to build a new congregation, to build a new Kingdom Hall. Us and the other congregation in the Kingdom Hall. So it was one of those things that go like, I think technically they start on Thursday with some foundation stuff, but really where all the different people come is like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this was Saturday. So we had made it through Friday. I was there doing jobs and stuff. So we were on Saturday at these quick builds. If you've ever been to one, you probably know there's way too many people there to actually work. Like hundreds and hundreds of people come there, and a few people, like the people who are trades people, are really doing like the electricians and the carpenters and the roofers. They're like doing the core work. They have their people working with them, and then all the other people are just trying to find little small jobs to do. They're making food. A lot of the sisters would like make coffee all the time, make sandwiches and stuff for people working. People are running and grabbing donuts, and I kept being put on, me and my buddy Leo kept being put on. We would take this wheelbarrow and go get trash that they had been using for construction stuff, and like take it over to the dumpster area and empty it out and walk around and find more trash. So that's what we were doing. But that like wasn't a constant thing. Like we could wait 30 minutes and then go find more trash. So that's what our assignment was. So we sitting there, we got done taking some stuff to the dumpster. And during that time, since there were so many people, and this happened, I went to a few different quick builds from other Kingdom Halls too, and this always seemed to be the case. Like the young people would just kind of gather in one little area, like away from the building a little bit, just kind of talk, socialize, just hang out, because there wasn't really enough jobs for everybody. So there was a group of people. Walter was sitting there, and somebody had just brought over some donuts. And so I saw Walter from far away pick up a donut, and then like maybe 10 seconds go by, I just hear everybody cracking up laughing. I didn't know why, but so I told my boy Leo, I said, hey, let's go over there and find out, man, what's going on. And we just wanted to go laugh with him, you know what I mean? But as we got closer, we start to see this guy, Daryl. So Daryl did not go to my congregation. His cousins went to my congregation. He went to another one on another side of town, but he was there just for the quick build. So he was probably a year or two older than me, so a little bit younger than Walter. But as we approach, I just hear all the jokes. Like he's just, everything's about Walter. He's like, uh-oh, nobody gonna get a donut. Walter found the donuts now. Oh man, look at Walter's belly. Oh, look at Walter's shoes. I mean, everything was just running Walter down. You know what I mean? And Walter was a quiet guy, so he wasn't saying nothing back. He's just sitting there with his donut, just trying to mind his business. But this dude Daryl was one of those loud people who like to always have an audience and try to show out and entertain people. So he got all the little young ladies, laughing, all the witness girls laughing, the other guys standing there, they all laughing, all at Walter's expense. So I walk up, as I hear getting closer, I hear all the jokes coming out. I just walked up, I looked at Walter. You could tell, he was upset by it, but he wasn't going to say nothing. He had put his donut down at that point just from the embarrassment of what, all the jokes. And I just walked up and told Daryl, like, hey, man, shut up, leave him alone. And he said, he just stopped, looked at me, and everybody just got quiet for a minute. And then that's kind of, I guess, when his ego kicked in or whatever. He was like, what? Leave him alone. Did you tell me to shut up? I said, yeah, I said, shut up, man, leave him alone. And then he looked around and he was like, or what? What are you going to do? You know what I mean? So I just told him, one time, I said, look, man, I'm not that kind of witness. You know what I mean? I'm just not. So I'm going to make this real simple with you. If you say one more thing to Walter or about Walter, I'm going to slap you. And that's that. Just told him, matter of fact, I said, it don't got to go this way. You just need to go on somewhere, man. Go somewhere else and do a job or something, man. But this right here is over. So he looked at me, he looked at the people. People was just looking around like, oh, man, that like they didn't know what was about to happen. The people from my congregation knew that I probably would slap them, but the other people just thought we was just, they didn't know me well. We was just witnesses, and we were going to do the normal witness argue back and forth thing. So he looked at me and said, man, you ain't going to touch me. I said, all right, man, I'm just telling you, it is what it is at this point. Don't say nothing else to or about Walter. And then he looked around one more time, looked at Walter, looked at me, and he opened his mouth like, man, Walter. And then that's all he got out. I just hauled back and slapped him, whap, right across the face. I caught him like right here. He like stumbled back, and he was just shocked. Like he grabbed his face. He's like, what you hit me for? And I don't know why he asked that. That's something that always confused me, because I told him before I hit him, if he said something, that I was going to hit him. So he said it and I hit him. So I don't understand what he didn't understand about what I hit him for. But that's a whole nother topic. But normally if somebody says that, they're trying to really buy time and gather their thoughts, because they're in shock that they just got hit. You know what I mean? So he looked around. It seemed like it took like 4 or 5 seconds, but it probably was quicker. Things was just moving a little slow. And then he started like charging at me. Like he wasn't gonna come up trying to like punch me. He came in like trying to football tackle me, like trying to wrestle with me, and just charged like towards my waist. And I just took a couple steps back and just, hit him as he was coming back. And then he like lost his balance because he was trying to tackle me. And then I hit him again, pushed him down on the ground. So he was just laying there. The last time I hit him was like right here in this area. So I caught him good with that one. But by that time, like brothers had seen what was going on. They came running over and like grabbed me, and one of them grabbed him, and they pulled us aside. And they couldn't take us in the hall because it was under construction. Everything was dirty in there, but they like pulled us to the back by some trees, and they had like an impromptu meeting about what was happening, and I didn't even know. Like I knew one of the brothers, but none of these were my elders from my congregation. They were just people who were walking around, but they were all elders, and I think there ended up being like 4 of them there. And then they brought Walter over to ask him what happened, and he told him like, yeah, Daryl was picking on me and making fun of me, and he was just taking up for me, blah blah blah. And then they went on and on about how, the news had been there to cover the Kingdom Hall quick build, and people who weren't witnesses were there helping out, and how I'm giving Jehovah a bad name if anyone saw this, and this was a construction site, but really it's our Kingdom Hall, and that's how we need to respect it. And I guess they were partially right, but I don't regret it, because I told dude, just leave him alone. I hate a bully, you know what I mean? So I told him, look, stop, just leave him alone and go on somewhere, man. So anyway, long story short, they told me I was kicked off the construction site. You know what I mean? They did end up bringing in, going and grabbing one of my elders from my congregation. He said, okay, yeah, well, you need to go, and then we'll talk about this in a week or so. So they told me I was kicked off. I couldn't come back. This was Saturday. They told me I couldn't come back on Sunday either. I was just kicked off for the whole project. And I'm like, okay, okay, I'm working for free. It's not like y'all are paying me, you know what I mean? So that's cool. So they kicked me off. They told him he had to leave for the day. Daryl, he had to leave for the day, but he could come back the next day and keep working if he wanted to. So he got to come back because I guess their reason was he didn't actually punch me, and I hit him, and whatever. So I got kicked off the construction site, of the new build. About a week later, my elders did have a little meeting with me. I didn't get reproved or anything, but they were heavy counseling me about controlling my anger and better ways I could have handled it, and always making sure I am being a good representative of Jehovah, and all this stuff. They wanted me to write a letter to apologize to Daryl for what happened. I told them I'm not doing that. If y'all gonna do whatever y'all gonna do to me, I'm not doing that. So nothing else ended up coming, from it. They just his cousins who went to my congregation, Daryl's cousin, they never spoke to me again. You know what I mean? They their whole family, everyone in their family had a problem with me, for the rest of my time there. But it is what it is. Anytime I saw Daryl out at any gatherings or anything, he just stayed away from me and didn't even come around. You know what I mean? But as I look back at it, was I wrong? Yeah, I was wrong, but I don't regret it. You know what I mean? Because he should have been picking on my man Walter. That was my guy. But just wanted to share that quick story. I'm the only one that I know a lot of former witnesses. I'm the only one that I know that's ever been kicked off of a quick build site. We were laughing about that. Me and my boy Leo, he just passed away 2 years ago. He was my friend from as far back as I remember when I was a kid, inside the organization. Afterwards, when we both left the organization, he was one of my closest friends. And one of the last conversations we had a couple years ago before he died was talking about that very thing. He was like, man, I remember you ran up and slapped Daryl and beat him up, and we was cracking up about it, man. So that conversation, that since that was one of the last ones I had with him, I always remember that. But yeah, just wanted to share that real quick. Funny things, there's so many funny things happened when I was in the Jehovah's Witnesses. So leave your comment if you saw anything funny at a quick build or at a Kingdom Hall, any other fights break out. I fought another couple times with witness people, but that was the only one at a Kingdom Hall, even though it was under construction. That was the only time at a Kingdom Hall I was fighting with somebody. But hey, it happens, man. Should have left my guy alone. Y'all have a good day.